Hi everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Sieverkropp.com video blog. Today, sadly, I need to share some bad news with you. And that bad news is that when you go to apply for a job, there's going to be a lot of people that are just as good as you are. I'm sorry to tell you that, but there's going to be people that are as talented as you that apply for that job. There's going to be people with as good of experience, as good of education. They're going to dress as sharp as you do, and they're just going to be as good as you are. And I'm sorry to tell you that. And business owners, the same goes for you. There's going to be people in your industry that are technically as good as you. They can do what you do as well as you do it. And the problem is that when that happens, you're a commodity. Now, what is a commodity? A commodity is something that it doesn't matter where you get it from. A great example of a commodity is corn or wheat. Those are commodities. It doesn't matter which farmer you purchase them from. It is basically the same product, and that's why it's sold in big bins, and it doesn't really matter whose is whose. They just sell it because it's all the same. And when you apply the same way as everybody else does for a job, when you fill out the same application, turn in the same resume, interview the same way, you're a commodity. And when you do business the way that every other business does it, you're a commodity. There is nothing about what you do to differentiate yourself from anybody else that's doing that. So what I want to talk about today is the fact that it's not enough to be really good at something. We all see broke musicians, broke athletes, broke professionals of every kind that are really good at what they do. I mean, we've all passed that guitar player at the entry of a store that is fantastic. He's an amazing guitar player, and yet he's sitting outside a store playing for quarters and nickels and dollars, when he's probably technically just as good as some of the highest paid musicians that we see on TV all the time. What is the difference? What is the difference between that man and the man that makes $1 million a year playing guitar, or the woman that does? Let me tell you what the difference is. The person that makes $1 million a year has learned how to brand themselves. They made themselves different. Let me give you a quote. This quote's by Leo Burnett. It says, "If you don't get noticed, you don't have anything. You just have to get noticed. But the art is getting noticed naturally, without screaming or without tricks." The art is to get noticed naturally. You need to find what works for you, and you need to be genuine, you need to be memorable, and you need to stick out in the minds of people that you want to stick out in. Whether that is the employer that you're trying to get hired at, or whether that's the customer that you're trying to land a contract with at your business. You have to stick out and you have to be memorable. Next week I want to talk more about this on my blog. I talked about it yesterday, about being a commodity and the brand of you, and how important it is to have your own brand. To be somebody that's different than everyone else. To not be the same person that's applying for jobs. To not be the same person that's providing your service or your product in your area, in your market. You've got to be different. So let me leave you with one quote before we end today. That quote is by Al and Laura Reese. And they said, "A brand should strive to own a word in the mind of the consumer." You need to own something. You need to be memorable and remembered for something. When that's interviewing, you need to be remembered as the best person to interact with, or the most intelligent person as far as dealing with people or dealing with certain issues. As a business owner, you need to be remembered as the person with the best customer service, the customer service that is absolutely out of this world, that has a wow factor that people just can't stop talking about. That is what being a brand is. That's what creating your brand is about. It's about being remembered. It's about being memorable. It's about being different, absolutely different from everybody else doing what you're doing or going towards what you're going toward. So stick around next week. Look for some more posts about that on the blog, and share with me your thoughts in this post about what it means to be a brand to you. Thanks for checking it out, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.